Good morning. Let's begin our last chapter. Yeah, I hate it too, but it's the way that it has to be. Chapter 24. The organs, chapter 24 is digestion, okay? Now the reason I'm doing this one is, several years ago, oh hell, 10 or 12, or maybe longer, hell, I don't know. There was a student that applied to a PT school over Johnson City, over ETSU. They would not take this course because I did not cover the chapter on digestion. So at the end of every semester, every year, second semester, I will cover the chapter on digestion, and this one's no different, okay? Had to go back and do a special studies with her, I think. But anyway, I don't remember the student's name. But anyway, that's why we're doing the chapter on digestion last. List the organs in the digestive tract, okay? Start off with the mouth. I ain't gonna write these things down. I may write down the three sections of the small intestine. The mouth. Now, the mouth is going to connect to the esophagus through the pharynx. Mouth, pharynx, which is the back of the throat. The esophagus, stomach. Now, after stomach, we get to the small intestine. I want three regions of the small intestine. The duodenum is the first one, the jejunum is the second one, and the ileum is the third one. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Now, that's going to connect to the large intestine. I want three regions of the large intestine. It ascends, it transverses, and it descends. Large intestine, three sections: ascending, transverse, and descending. Now, we get to the colon. We get to the rectum, then we get to the anus. Those are the organs in the digestive tract. That's kind of interesting. It's about 6 feet of the large intestine, about 23 feet of the small intestine, about a foot and a half to the esophagus. So there's about 30 feet in this digestive tract. 30 feet of organs, okay? Really, really important as far as their function. We'll break it apart as far as what they do, okay? Now, the overall digestive process is to take what we eat and break it down to something that can be absorbed. Now, that's the key word, is absorption. If you can't absorb it, it goes right on out. It's people with lactose intolerance that drink milk, that can't break down, excuse me, the disaccharide lactose. It goes right on through, it absorbs water, they get a horrendous gut pain, they get a lot of diarrhea because they can't break down the disaccharide lactose, okay? So the secret is to break down, and you know this, the carbs that we eat, the starches that we eat, also called polysaccharides, down to monosaccharides. So carbs, down to monosaccharides, okay? And you know the most abundant monosaccharide, go ahead and put it in there. I ain't gonna tell you. Give me a guess as far as the most abundant monosaccharide. Starts with G. All right. Proteins, down to amino acids, and the lipids, L-I-P-I-D-S, and the fatty acid, and glycerol. Now, a recommended diet, and I hate the word diet, diet is just what the hell that you eat. That's all that a diet is, okay? You're not trying to lose weight on a diet. Not to my estimation. A diet is the food that we eat right here. It is recommended that about 60% of what that we eat be carbs. About 30% of what that we eat be proteins, about 10% being the lipids. I just thought I'd throw that in there. So if you eat an abundance of one of these, then you're going to be skipping on the other. So this is just an average breakdown of the food that we eat, our diet, of course. Okay, now, the mesenteries. You'll remember the visceral and parietal concept. Visceral and parietal plural, visceral and parietal peritoneum. In the abdominal cavity down, what do we have right here? Mesentery is a double layer of tissue that connects the visceral peritoneum to the parietal peritoneum. Too bad I can't show you this on a cat because that damn stuff fans out. It's got a lot of arteries in it. It's got a blood supply in it. Okay, you got a nerve supply to it right there. So the sucker fans out from the visceral to the parietal peritoneum, a double layer of connective tissue. That's what the mesentery is. All right. Now, a cross-section of a tubular structure. It doesn't really matter what tubular structure we look at, from the esophagus down to, not including the anus itself, okay? Let's take a look at a cross section of a general cross section of a tubular structure, okay? Now, what the sucker looks like is something that you've seen before. The inside is the lumen, all right? The lumen. The outside right here, I'm going to make my lumen a little bit bigger, okay? Some very, very small lumen. Make my lumen bigger. That's a better lumen, okay? The lumen, regardless of what tubular structure that we look at right here. Now, two different types of layers that we have right here. There's a mucosa, there is a serosa. Mucosa is the inner membrane, mucosal membrane, mucosal membrane. And the serosa membrane. Mucosa and serosa. Now the serosa is the same thing as the visceral peritoneum. That's interesting, isn't it? The connective tissue that covers the gut is the visceral peritoneum. Well, this is a serosal membrane. Serosal membrane equals visceral peritoneum, okay? Visceral peritoneum. Now, in between there, we have a submucosa, layer of tissue just underneath right here. That's submucosa, all right? And it's got the arteries and the veins and lymphatics, this right there. Any glands, submucosa. And then we have this layer right here is a muscle layer right here. The smooth muscle that we have, the muscularis membrane that we have. Okay, there is a muscularis externa. That's the major muscle layer. That's what I'm going to concentrate on now. There's one called the internal, which is underneath the submucosa, but that's very, very minor. So this is the muscle layer that we have right here. The muscle layer right here, smooth muscle. And you'll find this on 24-2. As far, 24-3. Yeah, 24-3. A cross section of the muscle layer. Now, it's interesting that the muscle layers are oriented in different orientations. I don't like to use two words in the same sentence, but what the hell. They have circular and they have longitudinal muscles for the vast majority of them, except for the stomach. It's got an oblique muscle, okay? We'll cover that here shortly right there. I got circular muscles, circular muscles, circular muscles, circular muscles, and I've got longitudinal muscle. This would be a longitudinal muscle. This muscle would run in and out of the plane of the board right here. This would be a circular muscle that we have right here. So my muscle layer is divided into circular and longitudinal muscles. Now the heck of this thing is, there's a coordinated contraction between these muscle layers right here that moves the food through the digestive tract, and that's the definition of peristalsis. Peristalsis is coordinated contraction of longitudinal and smooth muscles to propel the ingesta, the food that you've eaten right there, through the digestive tract. That's what the definition of peristalsis is. Now we'll be looking for those words that are in there, okay? Now, let's take a look at a couple of structures that we have right here. The palate, we have a hard palate, a bony palate right here. Then we have the back of it called the soft palate. The hard palate just separates the oral cavity from the nasal sinuses. That's the function of the palate, the hard palate, okay? The soft palate terminates in the lingual frenulum, the little thing that bobs down to the back of the throat right there, which is a vestigial apparatus. I want to introduce you to the word vestigial apparatus. V-I-S-T-I-G-U-A-L, vestigial apparatus. It has no known function. Okay, the thing that bobs down to the back of the throat right there. All right, that's the end of the soft palate. That is the lingual frenulum that we have right here. Okay, describe the terms intrinsic and extrinsic as they relate to tongue movement. Now, we have seen the terms intrinsic and extrinsic before, related to the eye. The muscles inside the eye are the intrinsic, they control the pupil diameter. The extrinsic muscle of the eye, the rectuses, control eye movement. Well, the tongue is no different than we have right here. If you can curl your tongue without cheating, those are the intrinsic muscles. If you cannot curl it, then don't don't hate yourself. It's a genetic defect. Well, no, not really. It's just that one gene, one function that we have right here. It's called tongue curling. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. Don't worry about it, all right? But tongue curling is the intrinsic muscles. Now, the tongue movement is the extrinsic muscles. Side to side, back and forth, whatever, okay? Now we get into the function of enzymes. Enzymes. We know what an enzyme is. It won't hurt for you to review the definition of an enzyme. The structure of an enzyme is a protein. The protein has active sites on the surface of the cell of the three-dimensional structure. We've talked about functions of enzymes before. Okay, so the function of the digestive enzyme is to start the breakdown of the food that we eat. Okay. Now, the tongue, it's interesting, secretes a lipase, a lingual lipase, L-I-P-A-S-E. Let's take a look at these enzymes, all right? Let's take a look at the enzymes here just in a few seconds. All right? And I'll shut it off and I'll crank it back up. All right. Now, looking at enzymes. We have a substrate, we have an enzyme, we have a product. No big deal right there, whatever that the enzyme is, okay? Now, the substrate, let's take a look at carbohydrates, okay? Carbohydrates. Another name for carbohydrate is amyloid. This may help you remember the general term of the enzymes that break down the amyloid. It's going to be the amylase, okay? So there's an amyloid, another name for, an older term for the starches, A-M-A-L-Y-O-I-D, amyloid, amylase, A-M-A-L-Y-A-S-E.